Mailbag preview show, episode 295. Welcome to the boys. Another average week on the tipping front for our best bets. Unfortunately, it's the last week for our little season. And Pete's
Exciting though, because Peter's now lost eligibility, so that's wide open now to win.
Oh, it's great. I was just gonna abstain anyway, just give you guys a penalty kick, pretend I'm Brisbane versus the Blues there at halftime, 40 odd points up, and just put my feet up on the dashboard and just think I'm gonna win.
Well,
Come on, boys. It's been a washout, hasn't it? Let's not talk about it, really.
I'm in the black, that's okay.
Been pretty average, but we've got one more chance to get in the green. Yeah, Pete, you're slightly up. Rob, you're slightly down. And Jack and myself are looking to come over the top late here. Should we get straight into it?
I'm happy to go with my best bet off the top if you want.
Well, I think I know what it will be, so we'll talk about that race.
Okay.
That could be great in many respects if that wins, and yeah,
Tears will flow.
Yeah. All right. We'll have a look at Rosehill first. Race 8, the Group 1 Coolmore Classic, fillies and mares, 1,500 metres. Zoo gotcha. You were on it, weren't you, Rob? First up there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Got a little bit back. Yeah, she's probably a worthy favourite. Proper panther of a walker. The rain around 1 to 8 mils. It was going to be 1 to 15. Who knows? Very tough to, bet early at Rosehill.
The form out of Zugotch's race is shaped up pretty nice with the second horse, Lady Laguna, knocking off your favourite horse last week.
Oh, thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah.
What a good run by the big brave boy. I thought he went enormous. Yeah, fit horse, carrying good conditions. Probably should have had something on. Because she's proper quality. Barrier 2 here, James McDonald looks to get a very good run. Tropical Squall probably won't get. Is there any pace in the race? Look, I haven't really done anything on this race. But yeah, she looks the one to beat. I'll make Kimochi's there. Osbred Flirt seems a big price, but it is drawn the car park.
Deny Knowledge will it probably go forward even over the 1,500, Pete, do you think?
Look, I think they'll try and be positive, but I'd say Tim Clark holds all the aces, so to speak. Rosehill 1,500, he'll have to get on his bike early. But I mean, look, the horse does have that obviously genuinely high cruising speeds. That's probably not a disadvantage for it if it has to inject a little bit of speed into it early.
Yeah. All right, and Kamachi's in there, Rob, just to bring up another one of your favourites.
3-year-olds don't have a bad record in the race, or maybe they do. I can't recall. If she wins and I'm not on, I'll be annoyed. So maybe a mental health bet for me. But just as I said before, I'm not keen on the 3-year-old form really this year. I know buddy old mate won the Newmarket llast week and egg on my face there, but I'm going to stick with what I'm saying. The 3-year-olds aren't that good. I'm going to say it's a gotcha for me.
All right, Jack, any opinion here on the Victorians? Yonts.
Oh, well, John Allen inside draw. We saw what he can do on an inside draw yesterday. Anyone back running on time or something. Oh my God. Criminal. I like Tropical Squall. I like the horse. She's tough. She makes her own luck. The stable's so airborne and has been for so long that it's not a fluke. It's suited by the rider switch, I think. She's just a nice filly. I know she's a 3-year-old, Rob. We saw the 3-year-olds come to everyone written them off, and then one of them ran one of the biggest figures I've ever seen in my punting life last week in Cylinder. Son of Exceeding Excel. Too good, the Chico. Retires him, finds the next one.
Very well.
Very hard to beat.
It had an absolute peach at the Everest, that horse. We had it in the exacta and gave up like a bloody prick balloon. Went from, chocolates to boiled lollies there from the 300 to the 100.
Yeah, look, I just think you don't have to overthink the map here. It's come back enormous. It wasn't expected to do what it did first up. Therefore, I'd assume that this was sort of the goal. She's a very, very good horse, and the stable's flying. I like Tropical Squall here.
Rob, if it gets really wet, what are your thoughts on Madame Pommery? I know it's drawn wide, but obviously we'll get back sort of for the most part anyway. And I don't know, some of its wet figures look pretty good to me.
Sure. She doesn't look like a wetty. She's a big, strong thing, and big flashy coat. Find her in the yard all the time. I remember one day she lost by a very small margin. We're on the right side of it, and if she'd rolled me, I would have been furious. But that's by the by. Yeah, lovely style of horse. Yeah, look, not Zugotcha. Tropical Squall did look well first up, with plenty of improvement in it, Jack. So it was a lovely parade. She's a really professional. She might be the best filly. Looking that way. She's won, I think, the flight and the surround. If she wins this, she looks very, very good. But yeah, she has improved from spring to autumn as well. So Tim goes to Tim Clark from Hippo. Hippo's had an affinity with that horse. How do you feel? I know you're probably
I'm not that worried. Like, he's a good go forward jockey.
One of the best.
I think you just want to have a tough on pacer here if you're going to have an on pacer, because it's going to be brutal, and you just assume their stable is, and then you know this horse actually is as well. So, yeah, I think she's like way above average, this filly, and the form all through her last prep, I think, is the right form too. I think it's the strongest 3-year-old form, and it'll prove that over the next sort of month. Signs of that already in Victoria, Peter, and yeah, like, she got knocked off as a $2 favourite behind Autumn Angel, Pete. Autumn Angel was the run of the day at Flemington last week. She looks like she's in for whatever she wants. I think she's pretty bomb-proof. Started 550 versus Zardozi in the Oaks. So, she was out to 2,500 metres last prep. This is 1,600 metres off a good win at 1,400 first up.
I didn't mind you, Madame Pommery, Pete, 41 and 10. As you said, it would have to get the wet track. I think like the last couple of preps have been all dry, and it's run some decent races, but it hasn't won since the 1,000 Guineas when it was a heavy 10. Beating Revolutionary Miss, who's obviously in this race and done pretty well since.
I've got a question for the data people. Has Zugotcha ever run in a fast race and performed well? Or is she just like a little sit sprinter? Because I'm slight worry that 1,500 might be a bit far for her.
She's never gone fast for the class to the 600 in her life.
So we don't know. It could be either. She could love it or hate it. But yeah, her form around In Secret is good form. Her win, Lady Laguna, it's good. Probably right to be favourite, you'd say, Jack?
Yeah.
All right. Looks a fairly wide open race, but Zugotcha certainly, as you said, deserves to be favourite off its form. We'll move on to race 9, the Ajax Stakes, Group 2, 1,500 metres. We've got our boy here, Just Folk. Mick D rides from the outside gate, just like Madame Pommery looking for wet ground. We will also be hoping for wet ground. Jack, what do you make of the map there for Just Folk?
Busy enough. A more victorious, Fearson, Palmetto, Glory Days, maybe Caesar's Palace and us roll forward. Detonator Jack used a good draw. Be sort of third pair at worst. Rails and run. Maybe Coffins if it's good away. Quick away if it's good away. Jesus. It'll be a long weekend with us boys, isn't it? Yeah. I think it's a bit of a cluster behind them, so we don't want to be slow out. I think we're a stupid price, and it's easy. It's not my best bet all weekend, but I want to win this thing, so I need a big fat price. So it's how I'm going to have my bet to roll Peter, who's ineligible because he's not coming out of late minute scratching, so he's now can't win. But I still want to beat him just anyway, and I think Just Folk is a genuine top 3 chance, and if the rain comes, who knows?
Did win this race.
We're praying.
Couple-
He won this race 2 years ago, so he's a track and trip specialist. I think he'll relish being on the other leg and go on the Sydney way. Good shot, mate. Well done. Yeah, that was good. Sorry, guys. He's putting in the shed. Relish going the other way on his Sydney leg. He rolls out in Melbourne. He should roll in and find horses or fence and make him go straight and faster. He's a Group 2 winner last preparation. We just pray for the rain, and we pray that they. I just hope that the people in Sydney, love the horse and care for the horse and make sure there's good give in the ground if the rain doesn't come, and make sure the taps are out big time today and tomorrow with the hot weather that's predicted. We can't rely on the rain that is predicted. Next thing you know, we're racing on a firm 2 this stage of an autumn carnival. We can't have that. So what we need to do is prepare this track to be a good 4, soft 5 Saturday morning. And if any rain did come, well, that's unfortunate for horses who don't like giving the ground, but it's phenomenal for us. So I pray to God, Zeus, Allah, Builder, Bilbo Baggins,
Well,
Mary Poppins, Ablett Senior and Junior, the Johns brothers. I throw them in when we're talking Sydney, just to be safe.
Yep.
And St. PVL, that the taps are out and the rain comes.
well, they put 2 mil on Kenzo, mate, yesterday, and it got upgraded to a 3. So they'll be
Can't
weird.
have that. That's a disgrace.
Well, I actually enjoyed it out there yesterday, but rare, good Kenzo for me,
Rob, what do you
As
make?
you were.
Do you remember a more victorious, the Derby horse, won its last 2?
Yeah, I had one of the worst bets of my life on Marquez against it last start. Might have done. Is that a more victorious?
Yep, yeah, that's one. Yep.
Yeah. Looks like a progressive kind of horse. It's got a nice racing style. It's favourite over, what I think is almost the bet of the day, which has been Glory Days. So, yeah, look, I haven't see who's how much rain comes, who's suited on the day with the track pattern. But yeah, I'm leaning to Glory Days here for
If
Kira
that
Ma.
Glory Days and it beats us, I hope you make enough money to find a combination Saturday night.
I might. Well, I'm saying for my I will more than that, Jack. I'm tipping it as my best of the day.
It's
So,
already started. We're not even on the plane.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, I'd hate to pip Just Folk, but I can only. He must be a question mark even running on a 4/3, Jack. I know we've sent him up there, but
I'll turn it up.
does his best work on wet.
Because he's like a legitimate swimmer, but like he was 2.1 lengths off Prowess on a good 4/good 3 at Moonee Valley, second up last prep. Over 1,600,
Antino second. What price Antino in this?
Well, is Antino a myth? He sucked me in one day.
Possibly, but it's still a short.
Yeah. A little bit of respect, please. For our first ever Group 2 winner.
Yeah, I got a T-shirt.
All right, that'll do us for Rosehill. Then we pray for rain. Madame Pomeroy and Just Folk, a little double there for our viewers.
Weddies.
Race 5 will go to at Caulfield. Jack, how do you expect the track to play there at Caulfield on Saturday?
Not really sure. Yesterday was a debacle for people who try and predict how tracks race at Caulfield. There's a new track, the Heath. The rail was death. I think most people were thinking we're going to see a little greyhound track, and maybe the hose was out. I don't know, but it wasn't an advantage at all to be on the inside, if anything. So we're back onto the normal Caulfield here. The rail's at 6 metres. Peter and I chatting this morning. Probably one of the more even rail positions, Peter.
Yeah, I would have thought so. There's no real conditions to deal with either there on Saturday. So, yeah, I'd be leaning to, look, if anything, maybe the rail might be a little bit inferior, but, that's trying to see into the future a little bit too much, I think. Just budget for an even track and adjust if necessary.
All right. We'll have a look at race 5, the anniversary Vars over a mile, with another one of our runners. Number 2, Keats, drawn the inside barrier. Likely goes forward. Jack looks the most obvious leader.
Yeah, it doesn't have to go forward though. Aaron Bay's got some speed. D Moore, the deepest thinker in racing, probably the biggest overthinker in racing, maybe. Riddle me that. Nugget thereabouts. First Immortal, first up, short of his best trip. An intent jockey though from a wide draw. I think he'd be aiming for the 1-1, but I don't know if he'd be able to get it with a summit inside of it. Shea House trials plain, think it goes back. So we'd like to see probably First Immortal go back and sit outside Shea but very hard to predict what Blake does. Shot, yeah, well done, good shot. Sorry guys, very hard to predict what Blake does. So just leave it up to them. Nugget, Peter, I don't think, if you owned it or trained it, you wouldn't want to sort of be too aggressive on it. It's going to get a great run if they just sort of jump here. So I think we end up with an uncontested lead, but again, and I'm not just saying this, we don't care about if we lead or not. It's not important to us. It's just sort of where he ends up most of the time at the moment. So I don't see a lot of tempo in this race.
Peter, what do you think?
Well, then it just comes, yeah. I mean, if it's no real speed up front, it just comes down to race shape, and it's all in Craig Williams' hands then, isn't it? Look, the gear change, I always find this gear change of interest when the blinkers go off but the visors go on. It's one I think for especially on speed horses, which can just give them a little bit more spark when challenged in the straight. So yeah, obviously Gav's been just messing around with a few bits and pieces just to try and find another length or so, and that's probably all he needs. Just given that, look, a lot of these horses are going to be a little bit underdone. I think Aaron Bay is clearly the one that will be there to strike, and you're probably going to be looking for that one. So, look, I don't know, fascinating race, but no opinion from a betting point of view.
What if he just jumps like half a length in front?
Just ride the horse. Just ride.
I know.
Nice rhythm. I think he's right in this race. I have him shorter than the market does.
Well, you often do because he's like a go forward, make his own luck, brave boy.
Yeah. I think if he can run up to what he did in Launceston, that'll almost win this race, basically. But it's a map, Pete, like where if you didn't own one, you're anxious about betting because a few different scenarios potentially because it looks like there's no speed, and that's when it's sort of you get frustrated as a punter. You're like, well, I like this horse because it's going to get this run, and then all of a sudden, Nugget's outside leader, and that's not where he wants to be, and things like that. I think Nugget has the genuine grouse form. First Immortal has the scope to be a really nice stayer, and really nice stayers can win these sort of races first up. His trials were sharp enough, the 800-metre trials. Aaron Bay is a good horse, but this is a step up for him. And, can he put two together? I worry about the rider in a tactical race, but there's a lot of scenarios where he nails this ride. He's got a great barrier. So I'm concerned with where Shahir is as a horse, as a punter. I don't think he's going any good, but, he might turn that around on game day, just off his trials. Yeah, so I think we're going to run a good race. I'd be very disappointed if he doesn't run top three, and I think we can win. And we will be roaring him from either the Sales Complex or the Morphettville racetrack on Saturday as a group. And I can't wait to be able to, sit there with a beer and roar home a horse that we purchase as a group and race as a team. Would be an enormous if it could win. Sorry, Dus.
Indeed.
Full credit, Jack, with Just Folk and him racing on the same day in the height of,
I had
the
a chat to
carnival.
Gav a few months ago and said, hey, Jono's coming out, Rob's coming over, and Peter's coming because we thought Peter was coming. I'd love to have two runners on Saturday if possible. He said, no worries, I'll sort that out. So thank you to Gav, Jesus, and the rest is now is up to the horses and the riders.
Exactly. We'll move on to race 8, the quote-unquote feature of the day, the All-Star Mile. Obviously, over a mile, weight for age. Everyone's calling it a 2-horse race. Is it? Do you see it that way, Jack?
No, I thought there was. It's a race where I don't think, Peter, you want to get involved in until you've seen 5 or 6 races and the market has moved a little bit one way or the other. If it's nice and on pace on Saturday, which it often is at Caulfield, I think Pride of Jenny, Buffalo River, and particularly attractable especially, are juicy prices. I can't get Mr. Brightside as short as the market has him. I've got a lot of respect for the horse. I think he's a freak, but I hate the map. I think it could potentially, Peter, be an end of preparation run if they roll the dice and punch this horse out and be really positive on him on a brutal tempo, because there is no scenario I see where he gets in. He's going to be 3 wide and he's not going to be able to lead this race because you've got Attractable, Pride of Jenny, Buffalo River. I think Holy Man's Puntura and Ayrton will use the good gates. Desert Lightning looks like it's got enough speed to hold Brightside to me. And then when he goes back and he's ridden sort of cold, he's going to be probably 3 wide cover, and he's going to tow in the Cascadians and the Dom DeShoots and the Munamex of this race. If they're good enough and they're on, and particularly Cascadian, Rob, he's that sort of horse that he has days where he just fucking explodes. And if Saturday's that day and he gets a big tow from Brightside, then I just see a number of scenarios where this isn't a great race for Brightside, just because of the map, and therefore I think he should almost be double the price he is.
Yeah, fair enough. Like, so you say it's just going to be 3 wide working, no cover the whole way if they're neutral on it. Yeah. Or if they go hard, he's just still not going to get in.
If you trained him, you'd be going, well, he's going better than he's ever gone. There's at least 1 or 2 more races for him to be like start favourite in, or $5 shorter than in Sydney for huge money in. So we have to ride him reasonably, like kindly, not try and ride the speed. And it's not a map where I don't see there's any reward for being positive. I think he has to go back, has to take his medicine, and he's only just got there the last couple of races. He's got there because he is a champion. I'm not knocking the horse at all. I'm just knocking this setup and the price.
So what price do you think he'll be before they jump? 260, 270?
250, I reckon. But I don't know. It's also a tricky race, Pete, isn't it? With what a market will do, because it's a random form line. It's a random race where I don't think the market has as strong a view as it normally would. If all these horses were coming through 2 or 3 key form references, the market would have a stronger view on it, I think. And obviously, we've got Kiwis here, we've got Western Australians, we've got Sydney horses. I just thought Attractable was the overs in the race. It's got a $9, maybe $10 SP top of my head to Fangirl, who would start the same price just about as Brightside would in this race. So $31, a friendly map. It stood out to me.
Yeah, it's looking at the market right now. It's difficult to see which runner gets backed at the exclusion of one of the top 2 in the market. But as you said, I think it's pretty bare bones, both of those prices. Look, Pride of Jenny, I thought was fantastic first up. Like, it suggested the horses, like, she's come back as good, if not better than what we've seen previously. She's a proper iron horse, up there with some of the best on-speed gallopers I think we've probably seen, certainly in my lifetime. Just the ability to sit there on pace and just keep going. But you're looking at this speed map in the first 100 to 200 metres, and you're just thinking, well, how easy is she going to find the front? Is it one of those where everyone thinks that Pride of Jenny's going to lead, so they all just try and sit in behind her and she actually gets it very easily? Or is there going to be 6 horses fighting for the first 4 spots in the first 200 metres and they just go, like, inject way too much speed into the race? And then it comes down to Declan Bates being able to settle the horse and then try and build again mid-race and without gassing her. So, and she's only second up. That's probably the other thing. Had that first up run
between Peter, a hot like ridden trial. She was pushed against Just Folk.
Yeah, but I mean, like, a trial, is that going to be as much conditioning as, say, like a horse like Brightside, who's had two
No,
two
it's
runs.
not.
So
I still think it's classic Kieran, like
yeah,
prime the horse. I like her setup. I just hate her price.
yeah, she's the one where I think if the market takes her on for whatever reason, I'll be stepping in and backing her late. But at this point, it's really just who cares? Like this race has been completely and utterly mishandled the entire, last 6 months. I've got very little interest. Good luck to them going forward. But this is a race that's scheduled for the scrap heap in probably 10 years' time. If that, like it's gone. This won't be a feature race going forward. Is that too harsh?
I
No,
think it is too harsh.
no, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's got to be a slot race.
Oh, calm down.
Well, at least it had more
Make
interest.
make it 10 million and just do B grade
Prize money
Everest.
is irrelevant. They've got the best milers here apart from Fangirl. Fangirl's the only horse that's missing. Alligator Blood's out, gone.
Don't have to think about it. He's the best miler.
He's running in sprint races.
No, he's not. He's going for the Donny.
Yeah, well,
George Ryder than Donny.
I think it's just a year where they're petrified of Brightside, and they should be. Waller's dogged it. I think the only mistake they've made down here is the voting was like a key aspect to making the race unique and engaging the public, and there's a really stupid move to get rid of that. Otherwise, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think the general top end quality is pretty much on par with what we've seen in previous installments. It just seems to lack like a lot of interest and any sort of general planning going forward. But that sounds like Racing Victoria for a lot of for the most part anyway.
Racing.
Well, yeah, that too.
Did you hear about the mounting yard setup yesterday?
Yeah, I had a look when
my old man would have
depends
lost
what sort
his.
of ticket you get given for free. Like,
yeah.
there's a lot of positive reports, and then there was a couple of real negative ones.
I mean, it depends if you're able to watch them on a bit of an angle. Usually when I go to Caulfield, I go and sit by myself in the members' first floor where you get a bit of an angle anyway, which I'm completely fine with. But I know a lot of yard watchers want their, hoof on the ground and same level and all that sort of thing. But
it's just like common sense though. Like, race clubs have a duty of care to the punter. Racing needs the punter. They've neglected them. The race clubs should be aware of and there's like 10 of them, the regular race day people are that aren't a participant. So they aren't connected to a stable. They don't own a lot of horses. They don't have all the little cards that get them into the certain places. And they should say, look, this is what we want to do because we think it's going to be better for the sport long term. It's going to be a great amphitheatre for people to watch the horses who don't really want to study them like you guys do. What we've done, because we've collected all your data, you've come consistently. Here's a ticket each, which gets you access to this part. Would that be sufficient for you guys? And they'd say, that's really nice. Thank you for caring about us. Play on. It's not very hard.
right.
No comment, Peter.
Nah, I don't care. Like we're all playing for second. Once you've been to Royal Ascot, it's just like, well, they're all just there's faults with all the Australian tracks. None of them are perfect. Randwick's too small, but otherwise it's really well set up.
Did you think there was a fault just while I'm rolling out? Could you see a fault with the Swans on Thursday night? Because I feel like the premiership window is wide open.
Oof. Gone early against the side that I don't know.
I'm just saying, I can feel the breeze upon my cheeks. Very, very confident.
I was at got to see how the other half do it at Spotless on Saturday night. Saw the Giants destroy Collingwood.
Yeah.
Got the little shout out there to the catering at Spotless. Fantastic. All sorts of treats throughout the footy.
Did you get your high vis on?
No, I didn't. I was coming straight from the races. I didn't have any gear.
Your old man
sadly
back in the house if he caught you in high vis, would he?
No comment. Okay.
All right, perfect. So what's the summary there of the All-Star Mile?
That's my best ever.
You can't bet on Thursday, but maybe bet late on Saturday. Yeah.
I think you can have an each way bet on a tractable, like a tiny bet to make the race interesting for you.
I'd say on behalf of the Kiwis, I'd say they've got no chance. Desert Lightning probably has to go further forward than you got in your map there, Jack, I reckon, but he could.
Yeah, well, and then
more
that's
speed.
kind of like gets to what Pete's saying. Like,
Yeah.
I see a world where the more tempo, the better for Pride of Jenny, and the worse it is for Brightside. Because if they're stretched the whole way, some horse will kick of the 4 or 5 that are up there punching, and he's got to do that again. That sustained run.
What about his Valley record? 5 from 6, and the only one he missed was the Cox Plate. Would that be right?
Yeah, but this race at Caulfield, so
yeah, sorry. Yeah, it is. I was thinking it was at the Valley again, but no, they moved this one around, don't they?
I think that also hurts the race, to be honest, Jono. Like that,
5 from 6 at Caulfield.
As a fan and a punter, like you identify this race as at Moonee Valley, and I think that's a setback for the race too. It should just be at one joint or the other. I prefer Moonee Valley for this sort of race and the chaos that it creates, like a Cox Plate. But I think if you wanted the fairest result, you'd have the race at Flemington.
Yeah, for some reason I just immediately thought that was a Moonee Valley race.
It's a bit of an insight to how your brain sometimes works, isn't it?
Or clearly doesn't work.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you're just tapped out there.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Anyway, we move on. All right, best bets. Jack, you've touched
Rosehill, race 9, Just Folk.
Is that 100 on the
100 on the nose?
Yeah.
At whatever price is right now, please.
41.
Thank you.
Okay. Peter?
50 each way get me into the lead? No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, it would.
Place odds wouldn't get me home. So just, 100 on the snoz.
All right. Peter or Rob, either of you ready?
Well, I was going to do Glory Days into that race. That just seems just bad sport. I just watched one of my few trials, and May Rose in race 1 in the midway with Molly Burke on. If I could go each way on her, that should put me in front if she gets up. So it's race 1, number 10, May Rose.
All right. Peter?
Yeah, trimmed up since I did the form this morning, which is look to be expected. Race 9, Caulfield, number 7, Dashing Duchess. 1 first up at Ballarat, 3 wide, no cover. D-Lane Sticks, drawn perfectly, gate 4. I think this should be clearly favourite over Sir Atlas. I'll be taking the 5 quite happily.
I'll even give you 550.
Oh.
So I'm feeling generous. And you were 13, Rob?
Okay, 13.
Yep. 13.
Well, I'm each way though.
Oh, okay, yeah. And I will go Trentham in New Zealand, race 6. No Rain Ever, the half sister to our Yes Colt by No Nay Never, steps up to the open mares grade, 53 kilos. Warren Kennedy goes very well. Drawn 2, should just be in behind the speed. It's definitely no moral, but $11, I think it's got a good chance, and that will get me over the top. Although, hopefully, Jack wins at the same time for the sake of Just Folk. That's pretty much it.
If a little all up, to be serious, Vivienne and Peace Treaty look short and very, very hard to beat at Caulfield. Shares available if you want to race horses with us. Jono, Jono, at themailbag.com.au. Tried horse yesterday. Still some juice left in a couple of tried horses from the start of the month. And yearlings galore. If you're interested, email Jono and get involved or just to find out some more information. Have a phenomenal weekend wherever you are. Please, if you're not betting in the races against our horses, cheer them home for us. I can't wait to see 2 of you in Adelaide. Rob, don't pat the dogs at the airport, and Jono, don't miss your flight. Have a phenomenal weekend. Bye for now.